like, yo, does anybody have anything to say before he is sentenced? I stood up and I said, Your Honor, I'm the person who pressed the charges. I would like to drop the charges. I made a huge mistake.
Wow.
This was like, I'm in court, in front of his family, in front of friends.
Hold up, is Nicki really about to go to jail after the feds caught her hiding evidence from her husband's victim child? All might want to buckle up for this right here, because this entire mess with Nicki and her husband Kenneth Petty just took a much darker turn after this video of his 1994 interrogation with the feds leaked online of him allegedly admitting to essaying his victim Jennifer Hugh. New details about the essay leaked online shortly after this, and it turns out the feds actually found his DNA in Jennifer after the attack. You know it's Nicki Minaj. You know I didn't. Want that to reflect on my children. Word on the street is the reason why all this evidence was locked up but so long and just now getting released is because Nicki was allegedly paying thousands of dollars to keep it a secret. But get this, why all right after all this mess came out? Another video footage also leaked of Jennifer admitting to lying on Kenneth, and now people are demanding for the entire case to be reopened and reinvestigated because they believe he might just be another black boy who was thrown in jail because he didn't have the lawyers he needed to defend him, pressured to suppress charges against him, and that I wanted to drop the charges I did now, as most of why all already know Nicki is happily married to an ex-convict who was detained for allegedly assaulting Jennifer Hugh at knife point when he was only 17 years old. She was just 16. He served a 4-year sentence for this crime, but the jail time didn't have any positive impact on him, because right after he got released, he spent the rest of his time committing even more crimes and going in and out of jail until Nicki walked into his life and exposed him to luxury. In fact, by the time Nicki started dating, he had over 15 different mugshots, but Nicki didn't care about the crimes he was involved in, including the essay. In fact, back in 2019, when people were calling her out for this and telling her to leave him, she actually went on her show Queen Radio and defended the essay during this tirade. She refused to recognize Jennifer as an actual victim, instead referring to her as an alleged victim. She claimed that the reason Kenneth Plaid was found guilty even though he was innocent was because he needed over $7,000 to afford bail, which he didn't have, so the only way to get a reduced sentence was to accept a plea deal. She said that when the alleged accuser wrote a letter to the judge asking to recant the statement, she was told that she would be sent to jail for 90 days, allegedly because in 2021, Nicki is essentially trying to sell us this very sad story and imply that Jennifer was lying because she attempted to retract the statement. Keep in mind that this is the same man who was found guilty of manslaughter in 2006. The charge has nothing to do with this case, but it does give you an idea of the kind of man he is. Nevertheless, both Nicki and Kenneth were sued by Jennifer for allegedly attempting to intimidate her. The case was dismissed from court for lack of sufficient evidence, and once more, Nicki's camp tried to make it appear as though this meant Kenneth was innocent.
I'm on camera regarding the lawsuit she filed against Nicki Minaj and her husband Kenneth Petty, a lawsuit accusing them of harassment and intimidation, among other charges.
I feel like the actions that were taken in regards to this whole situation have put me in a different type of fear at my age now, and it was wrong, and I don't want to be afraid anymore. So the only way not to be afraid is to continue to speak up.
Now, Jennifer, I'm going to read because I don't want to make a mistake, because this is an important story. Though Kenneth Petty first denied the rape charges, he was charged with first-degree rape, subsequently pleaded guilty to attempted rape, and spent over 4 years in prison, according to the inmate records. Did you feel that justice was served?
I don't think I thought about justice per se, because
after this, things got so messy that Jaguar felt compelled to intervene in the conversation to defend Jennifer, especially after Nicki's attorneys were able to have the case dismissed. As it turns out, Jaguar had actually met Jennifer in person through a friend, and ever since, Jennifer has been spilling her tea for Jaguar. Jaguar claimed that Nicki and Ken allegedly tried to persuade Jennifer to retract her claim that he sexually assaulted her decades ago in order to have his name removed from the C offenders list. When she refused, they were forced to send the individuals to Jennifer.
Go live on YouTube. She started advocating for Jennifer Huff, Kenneth Petty's victim. Kenneth Petty being Nicki Minaj's husband. Now, I'm wrangled up in that.
You were?
advocacy. I advocate for Jennifer Huff. Part of the reason why I advocate for Jennifer Huff is because it disgusts me what has happened to her life. See, when she was 16 years old, she was unfortunate enough to be raped by knife point and cut by Kenneth Petty, who was also 16. She was threatened. She was bullied. In the end, he said f the trial and he copped. He copped the plea, attempted.
For those of you who don't know how it works, here's how it goes. Teacher with Jaguar first tier level 1 defender, you won that for 10 years. Level 2, they gave you 20 years on the registry. Level 3, you're on it for life, for life, for life, for life. That's her husband, a whole 8 monster sexual sadist deviant who likes to whittle on his women as he, them, that's A. Husband Wa after Jennifer, his 1990s victim, moved on and had children. Everything was fine. Then __ married Nicki, thinking he wouldn't have to register again because he missed the Minaj right. He ended up getting busted for it, got booked, fans caught on blogs, and the next thing you know, they found out he had a conviction. They then started looking for the victim, and now that Jennifer Huff's name is involved once more, the Pets decide to engage her and offer to pay her to retract her story so he can get off the registry. Imagine the balls. Pay attention to me. You understand that __ was angry a long time ago. I'm going to get you this money so you can have a happy birthday. Love, I know you got up and cut, but I need you to do this. Yay for stacks of Rex. All you have to do is return to New York State and inform them that you fabricated your narrative and that you are going to be fantastic. I will then set you up for success in the end. The woman's audacity in getting through this and moving on with her life is astounding. Then she realized that her name was everywhere on blogs and that someone had even approached her daughter. Her family began to feel threatened again by their friends and alleged gang ties, and she was just going about her business when she was sidetracked by fame. It is unfortunate for her that her daughter married a well-known person and is now back in the public eye. Now that you know that Jaguar has access to every industry insider, it shouldn't come as a surprise that she has inside knowledge. Moreover, everything she said is consistent with what Jennifer said, indicating that she isn't making this up. Fast forward to a few days ago, when a recording of Kenneth's interrogation tape from the day Jennifer accused him of the essay went viral. Kenneth claimed to have seen Jennifer walking with his friend the morning of the essay, but he suddenly forgot the name of the person he had just called his friend. Furthermore, when the officer questioned him about whether he had truly essayed Jennifer that day, he replied that he hadn't.
And shorts? Are those shorts?
Yes, shorts.
And sneakers. Okay. And now, you live at 12340 Inwood Street. How long have you lived there?
All my life.
And which one is your bedroom in that house?
Right upstairs. Right. Okay. As soon as you walk upstairs, right there. My aunt sleeps right there, and I sleep right there.
Okay. Was your aunt home today?
No, she had just left.
Was anybody else home when the police came? Did you ever bring her to your grandmother's house and have sex there?
No.
Never?
Never.
Okay. Now, when the Officer Booth saw you today and he asked you how old you were, you told him you were 14. You have to answer
yes.
all that. Okay.
Okay.
How old are you?
I'm 16.
So you lied when you told him you were 14?
Yes.
Why did you do that?
Because I didn't know what was going on, man.
When was this?
Today.
Okay. What do you mean you didn't know what was going on?
I didn't know what was going on. Why should I tell him everything when I don't even know what's going on? I'm trying to ask him a question and he like, how old are you? You know, I was like, I'm 14.
Okay, but you're stating that you did nothing wrong today, right?
Yes.
Okay, but you lied when he asked you how
yes,
old you were.
I did lie, yes.
Okay. And you've been arrested before?
Yes.
And you know that they ask you those questions
yes.
for certain reasons?
Yes.
Okay. How long have you known Jennifer?
Ever since.
I tried to ask him a question, and he said, "How old are you?" I said, "I'm 14, good, but you're claiming that you did nothing wrong today." But I had no idea what was going on, so why should I tell him everything when I don't even know what's going on? Yes, okay, but you lied to him when he asked you how. And you've been arrested before, so you know why they ask you those questions. Also, how long have you known Jennifer since the preschool daycare center, if that's relevant? And just to be clear, her last name is, I believe it's Brits, so Brits. Jennifer, are you listening? How come it seems familiar? You don't know? Okay, let me ask you something. So you've seen her just about every day, yes, over since you broke up, as you say, yes. And when you've seen her just about every day, when would you see her and where I would see her either coming from? School or going to school because she's a nice girl. She doesn't do nothing but go in the house, does her homework, you know, because I used to be with her sometimes helping her do her homework, going to the library and stuff, okay? And did you ever see her with people? Or yes, she used to be with people, okay? And did you have conversations with her on those other mornings you'd see her? Yes. And today was just like any other morning when you saw her? Yes. And you mostly talked to her friend and not even to her? Yeah, just. Oh, yeah. So when you left, were you mad? No. No. And when she left, did she seem mad? I don't know. How did she seem when she left? Did she's really... I can't tell you because I did not look back to look at her. Okay, now are you working right now? No, okay, and I need to know you were wearing these shorts and a t-shirt. Were you wearing any undershorts? Yes, okay. What type? Boxers or boxers? Okay, do you have them on still? Yes, same ones. Yes, all right. The officer's going to need to take those and voucher them as well for evidence. Okay, so he'll do that when we finish this interview. Yes, all right. Yes, now you recall before when your mother was still here, she gave you a consent form to go into the house and to look for certain property. Do you recall that? Yes, all right. And do you remember reading this? And signing your name at the bottom? Yes. And is this your signature over here? Yes. It makes sense. Do you remember your mother signing her name after reading it here? Yes. Okay, can you get this, Bob? Yeah, okay, and, are you? Your mother went over with the police officer and with me to the house, and, in the bedroom in which you sleep, did you keep a knife in there? Yes, there are little things and dishes in there. Okay, and what's the knife in there for the downstairs? It's messed up. What do you mean it's the kitchen is messed up? It's like we got all the cups and stuff is in our room, basically, okay, and there was a knife in there, yes, and it was on the dresser, not. It was in a little bucket. It should be a little bucket. It should be a little bucket on my dresser with a whole bunch of pots and a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, now, yeah, do you have something? You know what I'll use? A piece of paper. You want something like this? No, I got, this, the knife that was in your room. Yes, okay, and on your dresser? Yes, okay. It shouldn't have been on my dresser though. Can you get that? Hold the tone so music can got it. And do you wear contacts? No. Does your aunt? Yes, okay. And do you recognize this bottle? Yes. Huh, yes. Where do you recognize her from? What I recognize her from? Yeah, from my aunt. Okay, in your bedroom? Yes, okay. So as we all can see, Kenneth was basically denying everything and flat out saying Jennifer was lying, but this is where things get even more messy, because people dug up an updated police report that Jennifer submitted last year, which included the BR that she obtained from Kenneth as a result of the say, and some hospital reports probed that even his scene was found inside of her. According to the Daily Beast, the newly submitted exhibits include photographs of injuries to a young Jennifer's face, neck, and sides, as well as the police laboratory analysis report stating that her underwear and 2V smears were positive for the presence of spermatozoa. The report further states that a pair of checkered shorts were collected from Petty on the day of the alleged assault, and they were also positive for the presence of spermatozoa. When Jennifer was asked why exactly she decided to bring all this up. Now, even after Kenneth served time for the crime, she said, "I just wanted to show proof that I didn't lie on this man. I did exactly what I was supposed to do when it happened. I went to the police, I went to the hospital. I had it done." When I look at this stuff, when I have to talk about this stuff, it feels like I'm in a tornado and I'm trying to get out of it and my leg just keeps getting stuck. But even after all this evidence and Jennifer having to constantly relive her trauma, some people still believe she's lying on him, and they've even pulled out their own set of evidence to prove it. The first was this alleged letter that Jennifer supposedly submitted to the DA's office recanting her statement and admitting to making the whole thing up. It was posted by Ken's brother on Instagram just a few hours after the interrogation tape went viral. The letter read, "I, Jennifer Huff, would like to drop the charges against Kenneth Petty on the day that I said I was. It is half true and half false. The marks on my neck was not from me being choked. They were hickeys that I got the day before from someone else. The date that this incident happened, I was at the bus stop on my way to school. Kenny came up and asked where I was going. I told him I was going to school, but he told me he had something very important to talk to me about privately, so I went home with him. When we got there, we started talking, and then we started making out. After that, we got into an argument, then a fight. We started hitting one another. I told him I wanted to leave, but he wouldn't let me because he said I was too upset. When I got to school, I told my friend what happened, and she told me to go to the office and tell them that I was red, because even if I had sex with him the first time, I didn't want to have sex the second time. Everybody in school took it out of proportion, saying this and saying that. Next thing I knew, the cops was there. Everybody was making a big deal about everything. I am really sorry about everything. I hope Kenneth and his family will forgive me for all the trouble I caused him and his family. Maybe we could put this all behind us and continue the friendship we once had. There was also a FaceTime call that Jennifer had with her friend back in 2019, which the friend recorded, and in this FaceTime call, Jennifer once again denied Kenneth saying her, and she said she even stood up in court to tell the judge that he was innocent, and that she wanted to retract her statement, but no one would listen to her. Perjury is defined as lying under oath, so regardless of whether I made a statement or not, that's why I stood up in court and said, Yana, I'm the one who pressed the charges. I would like to drop the charges. I made a huge mistake here. I'm in court, in front of his family, in front of friends. In front of everybody, like whatever the judge said, take it to the DA, but nobody wanted to hear that because he probably had a paid attorney at the time of the FaceTime call. Jennifer also admitted to writing the letter that Kenneth's brother posted on his IG. She said she tried to get the DA to listen to her, but they were over it at that point, and she completely ignored her request to recant her statement. She said the DA didn't care that she wanted to recant, and they insisted on throwing Ken in jail. Did they say, if you recant your story, you're going to go to jail? No, when you wrote the letter, all right, when you wrote the letter and gave it to the DA, what did they say? Did I wrote the letter, I gave it to the DA, and then I showed up at court, and I stood up the professionally wrote a letter, and what you said in the letter, though, that I was pressured to press charges against him, and that I wanted to drop the charges. I didn't want him to go to jail. I was young. I was 16. You know my words, weren't you? Know what the judge specifically said, take it to the DA, and everybody looked at the DA, and the DA shook her head, like it's not happening, like, oh, cause they didn't want you to go to court because you recanted your story. You told him it never happened, XYZ. You were young and you were under pressure, correct, right? So that's why, yeah, babe, I told him that I wanted to drop the charges because I had made a mistake. Oh, okay, have anything else to say? In addition, Jennifer had stated in her interview with The Real a few days ago that she and Kenneth were never in a relationship, but in the letter she had written to the DA, which she had just admitted to writing, she acknowledged that they had a sexual relationship. If you recall, Kenneth had also confirmed that in his interrogation tape, so that's probably why they were so thirsty.
Did they say if you recant your story, you're gonna go to jail?
No.
When you wrote the letter, when you wrote the letter and gave it to the DA, what did they say?
I wrote the letter, I gave it to the DA, and then I showed up at court.
Oh.
And I stood up the professional.
You already wrote a letter, and what you said in the letter though? That was
that I was pressured to press charges against him, and that I wanted to drop the charges. I didn't want him to go to jail. I was young. I was 16. You know, my words weren't. You know what I'm saying?
You already wrote a.
Shut up. The judge specifically said, take it to the DA. And everybody looked at the DA, and the DA shook her head like, it's not happening. Like,
oh, cause they didn't want you to go to court because you recanted your story. You told them it never happened. XYZ. You was young. You was pressured. Correct, right?
Yeah.
So that's why. Yeah, babe. Yeah. So that's probably why they were so thirsty, because they knew the case would have fell through the roof.
Shut up. No, I told them. What I said was that I wanted to drop the charges because I had made a mistake.
Oh, okay.
Anybody have anything to say?
CH, it's a hot mess. Why all? Cause on one hand, Jennifer says that Kenneth saw her, and now there's this FaceTime call and the letter where she basically turns around and says the opposite. People are real conflicted about what side is lying, and some people are dragging Nicki for helping her husband hide the evidence, while some people are also dragging Jennifer for lying on that man and ruin in his life. I don't know, but as usual, people had their own thoughts, like this person who said Jennifer did everything the perfect victim is to do. She reported immediately and preserved the evidence, yet people accuse her of lying because her married a rapper 30 years later. Nicki Minaj and Kenneth Petty lied about every single detail. Another person said literally the whole world owes him an apology. A black man wrongfully convicted of a crime he never did. But now I want to know your thoughts. What side are you on? I mean, do why all believe Nicki and Kenneth hid the evidence of the say, or do why all believe that Jennifer really lied on him? Why all be do what to do? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and don't forget to click here to watch this other very messy video.
Fans who brought up Kenneth's attempted conviction by replying to them on social media, saying he was 15, she was 16, in a relationship. What are your thoughts about that?
It was like reliving it again, because it was a lie. It wasn't true. We both were 16. We were never in a relationship. I just felt woman to woman. I was wrong of her.